fuel prices. The Automobile Association says government must urgently deal with the fuel price. It's calling for the remodeling of the pricing structure. Over 6 rand per litre, 6 rand per litre of petrol is paid as levies or taxes of one, and one of those is the Road Accident Fund levy. The association's spokesperson, Layton Beard, who says the budget speech is the ideal opportunity to announce the plan, he joins me now for that conversation. Let's take it forward. So, Layton, let's start here. Are you apprehensive of the possibility of further levy increases in the budget speech by Enoch Godongwana with about, what, a week or so to go?
That's a naughty question, Tulasizwe, because I think history has shown that the increases are going to happen anyway. So, you know, when we look at what's happened over at least the last 5 to 10 years, those increases have been in line with inflation. So you will find that the general fuel levy and the road accident fund levy do increase, and they increase. You know, I mean, people will tell you it's a nominal amount they increase by inflation. The issue with that, of course, is that not everybody's salaries increase by inflation. Many people are still struggling to find work in South Africa. So for us, that is an issue, and we've called for many, many years. In fact, every year around this time, we make a call again and we say to the Minister of Finance, whoever it is at that point, please don't increase the levies at all, because increasing them is only going to harm the poorest of the poor. And sadly, every year, those calls fall on deaf ears and they increase anyway. So I think that we make the call. We're certainly very hopeful that those levies don't increase. But I think history has shown that we're on a bit of a losing wicket on that one.
So just clarify for us what the tax and levy component is of the price of about 20 rand thereabouts that we pay per litre of petrol.
Look, there's very many smaller taxes that are included on the fuel price. You know, you look at, 1 cent here, 3 cents there. So there are smaller taxes included on that. The two main levies that the AA is obviously concerned about is the general fuel levy, which is currently pegged at £3.93, and the road accident fund levy, which is currently pegged at £2.18. So together they combined they are around £6.11 per every litre of fuel. And that's a very important number. We are not saying that we need to remodel the fuel price as it currently stands. We are saying let's revisit all of those factors that are currently comprising the fuel price. Let's ensure that those factors, those numbers are A, calculated correctly, and B, that they're still necessary to be on the fuel price. Now, we understand that we cannot scrap the general fuel levy. It's one of the biggest taxes government collects. It's an easy tax for them to collect. It generates 100 billion rand to the fiscus every year, and government would be silly to do away with it. What we are saying is let's review the fuel price in totality and find ways in which we can mitigate against rising costs. We're not trying to give anybody false hope, as has been the suggestion by some quarters. All we are saying is that let's make sure that what we're currently sitting with is correct and is still appropriate for South African conditions. And the one example we highlight from that, Tulasizwe, is the road accident fund levy. The RAF is being poorly run and managed at the moment. We know that they were in court last week with a matter regarding the Attorney General. We think that there is some space to maneuver in terms of the RAF levy. And again, I think it's something we raise every year. If we want to improve the fuel price, one of the ways we can do that is by reducing the reliance on the RAF, and that means we have to improve South Africa's road safety record.
Sure. Well, that's the ideal, though, Layton, that we could improve South Africa's road safety record and fewer people would be involved in crashes. But the reality that we're sitting with is that we do have a high rate of crashes, and many of the countries that people like to compare us with don't have a scheme such as the Road Accident Fund, that's sort of a no-fault, broad insurance for road crashes. Some would say we are better for it.
Well, certainly, I think there's a lot of people that do benefit from the RAF, but sadly, there's more people who, in our opinion, don't benefit from it. And when you have an institution as poorly run and managed as the RAF, you have to start looking at the costs involved. When you have an agency such as the Road Traffic Management Corporation, which is the lead agency for road safety in South Africa, which has a surplus of 260 million rand in its 2020 budget, you have to start questioning certain priorities. Why, when that agency has that amount of money left in its coffers at the end of its financial year, are we still faced with an RAF that is billions in debt? These are the types of discussions that I think are necessary going forward. Now, we can ignore them and we can just say that the AA is on the wrong track. Our view is different. We think that there is a holistic approach required in terms of dealing with the amount of money that we pay for fuel, because everything in that ecosystem is linked to that price. So we have to review the fuel price. We have to look at all of those components of the fuel price. We have to look at road safety as part of that discussion as well.
Sure.
And we need to find ways in which we mitigate against rising costs. In our view, that is critical. And, we don't think that this is going to be a hugely time-consuming exercise. It should be very open and transparent. But we see no reason why it shouldn't be done.
Two quick questions, then you can answer them in one go. How much traction is your petition for the review of the fuel price gaining at the moment, ahead of the budget speech by the finance minister? But at the same time, I imagine that you've been doing the mathematics for yourselves as the AA. Are you able then to say what would be the right level to peg the road accident fund, currently at R2.18 per litre? What would be the right level? So those two issues as we part.
Yeah, I think it would be dangerous for the AA to peg a level of the RAF, and I think that we wouldn't want to do that in isolation of anybody anyway. For us, it's about collaboration, and it's about engaging with government and other civil society organizations and seeing whether that is possible, and if so, at what rate that can be pegged. I think it would be incredibly disingenuous of me to put a number out there until that type of collaboration is held. In terms of the traction that our petition is getting, we've got more than 30,000 signatures supporting that, and we've got another week to go before we submit that to the Minister of Finance. And I think in a country where where people often don't engage, for us that level of engagement is very significant and encouraging, and we certainly will pass that on to the Minister next week when we write our letter to him.
All right, I've got to thank you for your time. That's Layton Beard there. He speaks on behalf of the Automobile Association, who are saying it's time to review the fuel price. Stop the situation of worrying about fluctuation of oil prices 1 month after the other. Not that they're saying stop it, but basically they're saying that the problem is deeper than that. There's something in the structure of the fuel price that needs to be relooked.